righty then. Good morning. Good morning, mystics. Do you know what Ernest Holmes says a mystic is? One who experiences God direct, without me, without the build, just sensing God, just sensing the presence. If you haven't sensed it yet this morning, you're dead. Lie down, because this has been a complete experience. I have God bumps just thinking about what has happened so far this morning. You have heard it all. Maybe I can give you some spice about it, but you know it all, and you experience it here. Look at the sheet. It says September service right here, right after the announcement. After the what you call that? The index or the program or something? I mean, really, all of this is service. And boy, do you have guts, Mr. President, to get up and face the facts. Boy, is really something. And you did a great job. And I mean guts. You know, when you're part of a church, you realize how important the board is. And the president has the target on his chest. So congratulations to everybody that got certificates. That's proof that you care enough about life to study it. You know, you can think that you're taking a class because you're lonely. You're taking a class because you want to find your perfect mate. Forget it. I'm 72. It doesn't happen for all of us. I mean, is it time to give up? Nah. I still get the hots. In fact, there's a young man that wants me to be his girlfriend, and someone said, "Well, you'd be his cougar." I said, "No, I'd be his vintage cougar." So, anyway, it's great to be here, and the laughter comes from that heart of Las Cruces, the heart of you, the heart of everyone in the room. So let's stand up for a minute because it's time to stretch a little bit. Take a nice deep breath. And what Edwin Gaines, I was thinking of her this morning, and I'm going to do an exercise that she does that I learned from her. Do not miss Edwin Gaines. Drag your friends. If you have to drug them, drag them. Because you cannot not have a great time with her. In Detroit, I've seen her in California, all over the place, but in Detroit we have this big gospel New Thought band and choir. And she comes out and she looks at everyone, she says, "You just cranked my truck." So she's really neat. She says, when you look in the mirror, it should be like this. Do that. It lifts you immediately, doesn't it? Now turn around and do that to people, because you're the mirror. Oh, it's you. Oh, it's you. Oh, it's you. You're here. You're here. How fabulous. Oh, wow. Okay, if you want to sit down, that gives a lift. It's all about energy, isn't it? And it's all about the frequency of energy. There's a frequency here in this room that is just awesome. I could just stand here and get what I'm going to talk about. I've already gotten it because you have it. So what is the purpose of talking about service? And I understand it's the topic in church and centers all over the place. So imagine how many of us are doing our best to interpret service in a way that is enlivening and that you know that it's for you and that you've already served. Showing up is service. Showing up for a greater good is even bigger. Knowing that when you put something in the basket, it isn't like, oh, I'm going to give this much. No, that's God in form that you're giving. And when you give, you're voting for the center. It's your vote. And you're saying, I am able. I'm going to give, and I'm going to give more today. I'm going to give more and see if this thing's true, that I've been studying, getting certificates and pins. You know, why not have an experience of winning today? And one way to sure for winning is to give money. Money is love in form when you give it in a loving way. So service is spiritualized action. Ernest Holmes says, this blew my mind. He simply says, service is the keynote of success. Isn't that hot? Service is the keynote of success. And then it says, it implies constructive work, also loyalty to your work and to all concerned in it. So when you came this morning, did you know you were taking the key to success in your hand because you showed up? You're already a success. That's it. Say, I am a success. I am a success here and now. I am a success here and wow. Okay, so then he says constructive work. Well, service is spiritualized work. It means that you're going to show up for somebody, but not just for yourself, not for the people in the room, not to see if your perfect mate is in the audience, in the congregation. You're showing up for the movement, the New Thought movement, life. New Thought is an interpretation of life that is fabulous because we already know it. We know it. We just like to read it and study it, and more important, we like to prove it. So it's New Thought. You're helping New Thought. It started with Ralph Waldo Emerson. Get ready for this one. I was reading him. I'm always reading him. But he said, matter is dead mind. Do you get it? It's like your mind produces things. It attracts things. It manifests things. And then it's a thing. It's just a thing. It's over. The minute it manifests, it's over. Then the dictionary says mind is memory. Webster's. Never seen that. Have you? Mind is memory. But your mind is a storehouse, isn't it? The subconscious is our storehouse. And if I say, I'm going to fall in love, and I have a storehouse, if you're too old, you're too ugly, just get over yourself and be single with your dogs like a little old lady in Las Cruces. You know, if I have that stuff, I can't even be a vintage cougar. It ends. If I have stuff, nothing's going to happen to me if I have stuff. You know, it's hard to show up when you're old. You know, I used to be this cute little thing in West Hollywood with blonde hair and designer clothes and all that stuff. This morning, loved the look, the clothes, the shoes. I had a blast. I was a spiritual yuppie teaching science of mind. I don't regret a bit of it. The red BMW, Rodeo Drive, none of it. I loved it. I had a blast. So, but that's not me. Today, I spackle my face and show up. So he's saying constructive work, and it says loyalty to your work and all concerned in it. I know. It is spackling, guys. Especially the new makeup, the age remover. No, it's spackle. It just fills in the lines, you know, but it's, you know, it's less painful than cosmetic surgery. What the hell? Okay. So it's loyalty to your work. You care about showing up. You know, we're talking about the philosophical service here. We're talking about Science of Mind service. Science of Mind is a book, and it's about the mind. Bhagavad Gita is a song, and it's about the relationship of man to life. So the twins, Science of Mind and the Gita, are perfect balance in life. Because Science of Mind, you can't beat it. I don't care what you say. You know, since I've been in this 40 years, and I'm a seeker. I mean, I've gone way into Tibetan. I've studied with a Tibetan Lama. I've studied with an Ojibwe medicine man. I've studied with, I know Deepak Chopra and Wayne Dyer, bless his heart, and bless Louise Hay's heart. Let's take a moment for Louise Hay. She was a minister, and then she was known as a healer, and her work was phenomenal. In LA, when Marianne Williamson and I and Louise showed up to serve people with AIDS, we were serving them when we didn't know whether we were going to get it and die or not. We just knew that was what we were going to do. And she and I were on Marianne's board for the First Center for Living. And we met with Marianne when she said, I have an idea, will you guys come and be on my board? Because Marianne moves fast. She had the idea in 1 month we had a house in LA for people with AIDS. 30 days. She's a manifester. And so Louise and I are planning it with her, and Marianne says, I want to call it the Center for Dying. And Louise said, oh, I don't think so, dear. I saw Louise in Pacific Palisades at a 4th of July parade, And I went, Louise? She goes, I know, my face is a plain canvas without makeup. She was great. She had a sense of humor. She's a wonderful woman forever, right? Because she goes on. Everybody goes on. I go on and on. Okay, so the Bhagavad Gita about service says service is selfless action. It's called yajna in Hinduism. In Sanskrit, service with a higher goal, higher love, is yajna, Y-A-J-N-A. And it means serving for the greater good. That's what we're doing here. You give money for this center that is part of lots of centers that is lifting the vibration of the world. We're lifting the vibration of the world to the level of manifestation and freedom from guck. Science of mind sets you free from guck. Whatever the guck is, whether it's mental, physical, spiritual, it sets you free. Have you had that experience? You're free right now, right? You know, there's no kitchen to clean, there's no bed, there's nothing. You don't have to put gas in your car. You're here and you're free, and you're lifting the frequency of manifestation for a greater good right here, right now. Now, isn't that awesome? Yes. Service is selfless action. It's transcendental loving service. You know, there are all kinds of yoga. You know, Raja Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. There's physical yoga, serving yoga, meditation yoga. Jnana Yoga is science of mind. It's knowledge, Jnana Yoga. This is science of mind yoga. Yoga just means union. Union. Yoga means the science of relationship of God, of man to God, of man to the Supreme. It's the science of one's relationship to the Supreme. This is the science of mind. These two sciences have kept me going. I've been studying them, and they have everything I want. And now I feel that I'm an interpreter. You know, like the Science of Mind textbook is an interpretation of a way of living, isn't it? You can do this. There's a power in the universe you can use. He said it every Sunday on his radio program. Every time he taught, there's a power for good in the universe, and you can use it. How do you use it? You access it. You access the true self that you are, not the spackled face, the spirit within. The spirit within. John said, Namaste. There's no higher greeting. Namaste means the light in me greets the light in you. Service is increasing that light, seeing how we can increase it. So, one who acts in devotional service, renouncing all fruits of actions, not for the goodies, not for anything, just serving because it lifts the vibration of life. Renouncing all fruits of action, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, science of mind, transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self, capital S. So if you're doing something with no agenda, not for any reward, just doing something because you believe in it, that's awesome. That's awesome. And remember, you've already done it. Okay, so now I'm going to read line by line Ernest Holmes in the Meditations for Self-Help. How many people dive into that? It's fabulous. It's in the back of the book. Okay, so this is the manifestation called I Serve. Imagine that. On page 521. Okay, I'm going to say the phrase, and you say it after me, okay? I serve the world. I serve the world. I wait upon the Lord within all men. I wait upon the Lord within all men. I call forth glory from on high. I call forth glory from on high. Through the minds of all people. Through the minds of all people. I obey the will of him. I obey the will of him who dwelleth among the heavens. Who dwelleth among the heavens. My Lord within. My Lord within. Commands and I obey. Commands and I obey. No, I don't usually say I dwelleth in Las Cruces. But the older language, and for Ernest Holmes, it means I'm going higher into the these, thous, and ifs. Okay? So this is the whole gist of today's message about philosophical service. And if you go to the workshop, you're going to get one of these. And then the workshop is about your own personal interpretation of service. And then we're going to talk about community service, service to the people in your life, the service that takes spiritualized action. The way to spiritualize your life is to serve. Show up, breathe, breathe. Spirit means breath, right? So this is a cool one. My upward breath offers, let's see. My upward breath blesses my downward breath. My upward breath blesses my downward breath. Let's say that. My upward breath blesses my downward breath. My upward breath blesses my downward breath. Let's take a minute and remember Ernest Holmes' I serve. I'm going to read it softly, and I want you to take it in and interpret it, sense it, and do your own sense of what this means. I serve. I serve the world. I wait upon the Lord with all men. I call forth glory from on high through the minds of all people. I obey the will of him who dwelleth among the heavens. My Lord within commands, and I obey. And have your upward and downward breath. Get close to your stillness and sit there. Get close to your stillness. Sit there and listen. Sit close up to your stillness and listen. And then ask yourself, what does this mean to me? Do I really believe that just by coming here I'm serving? Do I really believe that spirit does mean breath, and breath is the only thing keeping me upright and alive? Do I really believe in the importance of breath? Ernest Holmes says, mind is potential energy. Mind is potential energy. So you have this infinite potential energy. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it when you leave here, when you go home? I can access potential energy. I can access potential energy. Let's say that. I can access potential. And you access that by breathing. Take a moment of stillness and say, oh, I remember there's a higher self than the body named Sandhi. There's a higher self. That's what this whole service has been from the minute you walked in the door. The people that were serving you, that you probably won't even meet, that made this place clean and ready and lit, prepared the food, brought the food, provided a store where you can buy spiritual reminders. You know, those things, I call them spiritual reminders. Mind is potential energy. Thought is the dynamic force which produces activity and manifestation. Is that cool or what? Thought is a dynamic force. My thought is a dynamic force. Let's say that. My thought is a dynamic which produces activity and manifestation. You know, there's a new radio station in town called Ketal, K-T-A-L. And I have a program, and it's called What's Between Your Ears? What's between your ears? Because it all starts there. In fact, all of our senses, if I'm touching my face, it's all 5 senses right there between my ears, on my head, everything. First we sense, then we think, then we express, then we experience. You have a thought, you interpret it, you express it, and that makes your experience. Your interpretation in the moment, your thinking, is what manifests your experience here and now, here and wow, everywhere, here and everywhere. By the way, I read the Bhagavad Gita forever. You know, this is my Bhagavad Gita. This is my 5th one. This is my 3rd Science of Mind book. I mean, it's all here, and it's all within you. But so I'm leading. This book has the Sanskrit in the blah, 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 that beautiful, and then it has the Sanskrit in italics, and then it has word for word what word means what. So I'm studying and getting really heavy into it, and I really want to offer this to the center. I really hope this blah, 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 you know, like what I'm doing makes a difference. So I come upon yada yada. I'm not kidding. In Sanskrit, yada yada. You know what it means? Whenever, whatever. Is that a riot? The Bhagavad Gita? Yada yada? See, you never know how current something can be. You never know. Yada yada. I think that's a big kick. So the chapters 2 and 9 are the most important in the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 2 is all about Krishna telling Arjuna to get a grip and go to battle. Because Arjuna looks out at the battlefield, he sees his parents, relatives, he said, I'd rather die, and he slumps in the bottom of the chariot. And Krishna says, get a grip. You're not killing them. The bodies drop. It's like taking off a coat and do the thing in front of you. So the Bhagavad Gita is current. The whole thing is Krishna. It's a song. Science of Mind is a book that was written. Bhagavad Gita is a song that was recorded for us. Just a simple song on a battlefield. This is all kinds of translations for the one. Bhagavad Gita can be this big if it's simply the translation. It's just a song. But what a song, because it tells you to get up, grab the reins of your senses, the 5 horses, and go forth and do the thing in front of you. Just do it. Nike and Krishna, just do it. Okay? So they're both sciences. One is science of mind, the other one is science of your relationship to life itself. How can you lose with those two? People taking classes. If you're thinking about taking a class, don't think, just do it. Just do it. That's what I did. I found, I was ambushed by religious science in 1977. I was working in a laundromat. And this woman said, there's this really cool lady speaking in La Jolla. You ought to go. And I thought, oh, yada, yada. And so I rode my bike. I walked in. Bam! This woman was speaking the way I felt. She was saying what I've always thought. Just like I'm saying stuff, nothing new, because guess what? We all rode in on the same frequency this morning. So we're all interested in how we can better live. And better living through service works. It spiritualizes your life. It keeps you in the circulation of what we love, of what we're feeling right now. With these two sciences that just tell you what you are and who you are. That's all they do. You know, Ernest Holmes says, we don't heal, we reveal. And Eknath S. Warren, who knows who Eknath S. Warren is? He's a fabulous Hindu man that was a professor at Berkeley. And he interpreted the Bhagavad Gita. And he said, the Bhagavad Gita is one of the finest mystical documents the world has seen. Mystic service for a greater purpose than meeting a need, assisting, and helping hand. I started to say, Ernest Holmes says, we don't heal, we reveal. All we're doing is saying, this isn't who you are. You're much bigger than this. There's something within you that can lead you through this. And I don't know how, but I know it's so. And so practitioners and ministers take a spiritual stand for you. And there's nothing more powerful than someone taking a spiritual stand for you. It says, namaste, I'm greeting the light. I'm not only greeting the light, I'm calling it forth. And when we are together, there is more of that energy. When 2 or more are gathered. This is like spiritual stew today. You know, you're an onion, you're a garlic, you're a cilantro, you're a tomato, you're a potato. If you stayed home with your potato, that's what you'd have. But you came here and you united your energy with everything that's happened here, from the silent meditation to right now. And you've become an amazing, nurturing spiritual stew that spiritualizes your life, lifts you and carries you from whatever you're doing. Let's just think on these things. The rest of it is for the workshop, because it's the how-to, and the workshop is about stimulating your thoughts about service so that you have your own thoughts about service, your own interpretation. Science of Mind is an interpretation. The Torah is an interpretation. Every writing is an interpretation. And I wanted to close on a light note, because this is one of the best books. This was a $1 book outside at Coas. And I like the color and the touch. I like books. Pages. Do people still turn pages? Okay. It's called Breakfast with Buddha. It is one of the best books I've ever read. You know it. It's this guy that has a sister, and their father died in North Dakota, and they're in New York. And so the sister says, we have to drive out to the farm and get it ready to sell. And he says, okay. He wanted to go to Cape Cod with the family as usual, but it was okay. You know how you say, okay, I'll do it. So he gets to her house, and she's this raging New Age hippie chick that is into everything that annoys him. You know, New Age nausea. He just can't stand it. And he's going to have to be in the car with her patchouli all the way to North Dakota. And her oming and all the baloney she does. And so he gets there, and she goes, oh, I'm not going. You're taking the Lama. I mean the person Lama, the Tibetan Lama. And he's this obnoxious, square-built, big-headed idiot laughing his head off all the time. And he says, no way. And he spends 4 hours trying to get out of it. But anyway, this book is about their journey. And it is a great way to sneak the highest truth on earth into people, because you think it's just a novel, ha, 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 ha. Well, towards the end, he asks the big question, like, why do we hurt each other? Why is there this? Why is there that? And he says, I don't know the why. I know the is. It says, every day, many times every day, you can go one way or the other. You can go with anger or not go. Go with greed or not go. Go with hate or not go. Go with eating too much or sexing too much or not go. 2 ways. The digital universe. He goes, sorry. He goes, nothing. Go on. These feel like small things, small choices, but every day across one life, across many, many lives, if you choose the good way again and again and again in what you are thinking and what you are doing, if you choose to go away from anger, not toward, away from hate, not toward, away from armor, not toward, away from falseness, not toward, then you become this person like you, good, not stealing, not hurting. Some people made good choices, some people not. Not the perfect life, not the life with no trouble or pain at all, but a life where it's easier to turn the mind to the spiritual part. To turn the mind to the spiritual part. You see, truth is getting out there everywhere, but it's not diluted here. This is dense truth, Science of Mind. This is the denseness. This is the meal. You know, you can get it on TV, you can get it in sitcoms, but when you show up, it's stew. You're not at home looking at a screen. You're here feeling it. You're going to each other. You're saying truth. You're experiencing it. And when you spiritualize it, spiritualize your money, when you hold your money, say, this is for a greater good. I get to contribute to a greater good. That is so cool. I get to contribute to us lifting the frequency of life to a higher love, just like the song. So are you going to do it? You've already done it. You're already it. So let's stand up. You know the English greeting, hello? You know, there's buenos dias, good morning. There's bonjour, good morning, hi. And hi comes from hello. I love it. Melody goes, hello. Before I close, Reverend Bonnie and Teresa and Julie show up once a month at the Agape Market. And I just passed by and I joined them. They've been doing this in the heat outside, providing backpacks. So if you want to know about service, you have a service person right here. You have a Bodhidharma right here. Bodhidharmas live for a greater good. She's a Bodhidharma. Okay, so hello comes from the calling of the hounds in England. So I prefer namaste. All right, so together, meaning the light in me greets the light in you. I call myself an inner flame fanner. I just want to fan your flame. You know, it's there. Let's ignite it and have some fun. Okay, so let's put our hands together like a lotus, like a lotus, and we bow and we say namaste. Namaste. Hip, hip, hooray. Hip, hip, hooray. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.